Alright, what's going on, guys? Right now I'm gonna try and just give a few words about how I think we should be using Torb on defense in this dive meta. Even on maps like Gibraltar where the pros, you'll never see the pros use Torb on Gibraltar really. Um, but I think it's definitely a viable option. I think that they're definitely underusing him. So first of all, let's just identify the enemy's comp. So the enemy will be over here. So let's just say they're running a hyper aggressive offense. Um, the meta dive. So Genji, Tracer, Winston, Lucia, Ana, and this could be Diva or Soldier. Let's just call it Soldier. Okay. So this is a very meta um, dive. This could be replaced with Diva, but the same principle with Torb applies. And so what I'm looking for here is, so we would be running more of a setup where we actually run the Reinhardt and Torb Soldier, and then I don't really know. It's just based on, this isn't important. Whatever other DPS roles you want to fill here. So DPS role here, and then most likely Diva or Winston. Or Win. Okay, so but let's just, for the sake of it, let's just say we're running a Diva. Okay, so this is our comp right here on the left, and this is the enemy's comp. And so basically we can, with Torb, we can metagame this right here. So what I'm proposing, so blue will be our Torbjorn player, or our Torbjorn turret right here. So we will start with our Torbjorn turret placed right here at this X. Okay, so that's our Torbjorn turret location. Now let's go back to when we got Dove in our first scrim on defense and how things started to fall apart. Let's just look at how they did it. So here's Tracer. Tracer goes up here, right? Genji came here. Actually, they might not have had a Genji. Okay, but either way, if they were running a more meta comp, I think they might have had a Soldier or a Pharah or something. But let's just say it's a Genji. Pharah wouldn't matter. The Torb turret is in a place where if Pharah is up here, then she can't really get this turret. So it would actually weaken their dive against this Torb turret. But let's just pretend they had a Genji. And then Winston went here. Right? And so we were positioned in this big black X right here. This is us. It looks really overwhelming from this way, because look, we're being attacked from this side, we're being attacked from the front, we're being attacked from this side, and they're just gonna crush us this way. Especially if the Winston takes an even wider angle. Now all of a sudden we really have no way out. So this is actually kind of the basis of our own attack, except with me Pharah up by the dome here. But this is kind of how an attack might work in this meta. But if we remember that there's a Torb turret, okay, so as Genji jumps up here, as he's coming in, this Torb turret, let's just say we put it a little bit further forward than the X, we'll put it like right here instead. This was a little bit too far in the corner. So the Torb turret's line of sight is all of this right here. All that. And so it's a little distracting in here. Okay, so let's just mark out our flanks again here. So Tracer's coming here. Right? And Genji is coming up here. Now, in order for the Tracer and the Genji to not die to this Torb turret, because Torb turrets are a pain in the ass for any flanker. It will rip these two these two flankers apart if they don't deal with it. So in order for their dives to still be successful, they have to understand that they now have to do this. So Genji and Tracer will now turn their attention to this, right? Remember, we're still back here. So Genji and Tracer are now preoccupied with the Torb turret. 300 health, by the way, so they'll melt it pretty fast, but they'll still have to turn their attention to it, and they will have to change their positioning, potentially, in order to hide. So they are now both distracted by the Torb turret. The Winston will be continuing his dive here, in on us. So if we understand that these two flankers are not a threat to us right now, while the Torb turret is up, we have all 6 of us looking at this Winston right now. And we can have Yellow being our Ana, our healer. We can now position her back here. Even though this would totally be a viable dive right here for these flankers to be going for our Ana, because the Ana is actually going to be positioning closer to the flankers now in order to protect herself from the Winston. So if all 6 of us are now looking at the Winston as he jumps in, let's just say we kill him, we force him to jump down. Alright, so the Winston is now gone. By the time we kill the Winston, we can assume that they managed to deal with the Torb turret, right? And people say, oh, you know, that the Torb got no value, right? It probably didn't kill either flanker, but it distracted them for long enough and potentially weakened them, right? But let's just say they're not weakened. Let's just say they're ready to go. We have our Ana rotate to here, because now watch what this Torb turret just did. Look at the ending positions of our Tracer and our Genji player here. Look at this now. Their 3-pronged attack, where they had... Let's just get all this out of the way. Their 3-pronged attack, where we came from here, here, and here, just turned into a 1-pronged attack from the same direction with Genji and Tracer. Because now, that makes sense, where the Ana can rotate behind the team, and now the team's attention can simply just be redirected to here with our Rhine shield. Right, our Rhine shield is right here. And look at that, these two flankers are completely useless. Our soldier player can put in work, our other DPS, whatever we decide to make him, can put in work, and we just neutralized a whole dive just like that. So I think that putting the Torb turret here could work. Or if we think the Winston would be a greater problem, if we put the Torb turret potentially back here, right? So it gets this line of sight here. If we're sure they have a Winston, we're sure that he wants to jump up top. Maybe we give him some bait. We'll put the Ana up here, and then so let's just say we position the Ana like right on the edge here. Winston jumps up to come get her. Oh, look at that. Ana jumps down right here, comes back to the team. And now the Winston is preoccupied with the Torb turret because he has to kill it or it'll melt him. The Torb turret will do a great job against Winston. Then all of a sudden we only have 2 things to deal with. And then the Winston will have to use his own bubble to stop the Torb turret damage from right here. So now the Tracer and the Genji have no bubble to work with, because in the dive comp the bubble is one of the strongest things. It lets the flankers have more survivability. So now all of a sudden there's only 2 like really meaningful attacks coming in, and they're both coming from the same kind of area, so we can position our Ana safely back here, even though the Winston is still hanging around up here. He's dealing with the Torb turret right now, and so hopefully in that time we can get rid of these 2 flankers just like that. So that's why I think Torb can definitely be a viable option here. Let's see, if we are holding, let's just say we're holding from, get a good camera angle right here. Okay. Alright, that's not too bad. Okay. Alright, so let's just say we're holding back here. So we have our Rhine shield just kind of chilling right here. We have our friendly soldier. We'll do our friendlies in black. Our friendly soldier up here. the person they want to dive in yellow should be our Ana. Let's just say she's positioned back here. And then we have just our secondary tank just back here. We've got, who else we have? Let's just have our Torb player here too. But what's really important here is the Torb turret placement. Now there are a few places I think we can put it. We can put the Torb turret right on the Ana, right here. And then if we draw out its line of sight, we know where the Rhine shield is, right? We know its line of sight is all this, even further, all this. So with the Rhine shield here, the Torb turret is safely putting in work on their flankers as the payload moves in. And then it'll really discourage any flanks that are coming here, because they'll probably be coming. But it doesn't do a very good job of guarding this one. It's just there's not enough time for the Torb turret to put in work. I think that the flanker could probably just ignore the Torb turret and get the Ana, and then probably will die to the turret afterwards, but that's a pretty good trade for them since we will be running solo healer. But what we can do, instead of putting it there, so this will be a viable option depending on how they're attacking. We definitely could put it there, and the Ana could use it for protection. The next thing we could try is, let's just say we're trying to defend from a rooftop point of view. We put the turret behind, just imagine this is behind the box. We put the turret behind this box so it gets this line of sight here. And then it also gets some here. Right. So this flank is now being shot at from this whole entire time. Depending on how forward we put it, this flank is now defended for the almost entire time. They can't come out of the doorway without being shot. This flank is now being pressured, and the only thing that would work is it just straight up dives straight from the front. So the Torb turret would not help very much with a dive straight from the front. But since we have our Reinhardt and our soldier and our front-facing tanks and DPS, they're all being funneled in like this, straight into our Rhine shield, where we have our soldier player who is not going to be dived because the Torb turret is discouraging that. We have our Ana here who's safely behind the Rhine shield, which if the Genji goes over, it's not exactly safely, but we have much less angle to cover. It'll give us a much better chance with our whole team being back here. So yeah, that's just a first point example of what I've been thinking about using Torb on defense, specifically on Gibraltar. But I think it could actually be used in any scenario. Some other Torb spots I was thinking about that we can kind of discuss is this spot back here. Let's pretend it's on the other side, because then we get all of this covered, and then we also get this covered. So this area becomes a Genji Tracer dead zone, especially if they don't know it's there and they're just like, all right, we're just gonna go for the head-on dive. Let's go. Let's just go straight in. And then especially if the Tracer player has been just annoying the backline the entire time, like many Tracers do. There are many well-known Tracers who they stay in the backline the entire time. They almost never group up with their team. They're just always poking away. This will be very strong against that, but however, if they just decide, let's just full push this way, all of us, they can easily take out this Torb turret, and then from there they can make their dive in. So that spot's a little weak to that, so that's why I didn't talk about that too much. But yeah, just tell me what you guys think of using this Torb solo healer strategy here. Basically, the Torb turret just limits the angles so that the Reinhardt, Soldier, and Diva, and Torbjorn can really start to mitigate what these flankers are doing, because we're just limiting the angles. Because if the dive comp's all coming from one direction, it's much easier than if it's coming from 3 different directions. So yeah, that's my idea. Just tell me what you think.